Hi everyone, welcome to Buy Now Sell Now, the weekend edition. This is the show where we'll be answering all of your viewer queries and of course getting your individual investment queries answered. I'm Mubina Kapasi and here's all that we have lined up for you on the show today. First up, we'll be discussing the stocks Tata Power as well as Graphite India. Later on the show, we'll be bringing on board TK Nandi's portfolio. So let's introduce our guests then who are going to run us through all of your viewer queries and of course given their top picks. Gaurang Shah on the fundamentals as well as Amar Singh on the technicals. Welcome to the show, both of you gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining us in. Let's get on board our very first query then, and it's coming in actually on Tata Power. We have Vijayval K from Tamil Nadu who's sending in his query. He says he has bought 3,000 shares of Tata Power at 79 rupees per share and his question is, should he hold or exit? He has a long-term time horizon. Gaurang, understandably, he may be a bit perturbed, disturbed by his investment in Tata Power given all that's happening in the power space and also, of course, company specific in relation to the UMPP. What would you advise him to do?
So, maybe a frustration would always be there for power generating investments for any investor. But if we look at the flip side, the initiatives taken by the government in terms of Indradhanush and Uday Yojana, that would revive the financial condition of the state electricity board. And on the other side, Tata Power is also venturing into defense from a long-term point of view. We remain positive because bad days seems like they are over. The recovery process might take a little bit slow and lengthy, but definitely there is a turnaround. So from a long-term point of view, continue to hold on. We have a target of 96, and mind you, if defense plays out well and starts contributing to the balance sheet, then we might revise the target upwards.
Okay, so an optimistic view actually coming in, especially if you have a long-term time horizon. Gaurang is putting in a target of 96 rupees. Okay, Amar, let's understand your call then on Tata Power. You know, it's a stock that's really gone through tough times, but do you think that this stock would be able to bounce back and, you know, perhaps exceed the returns that our investors currently enjoying?
Yeah, overall, looking at Tata Power, it's not gone anywhere. It's trading in a range and currently around 82 levels. If I'm looking at it from a technical perspective, it's in a very narrow range to say. So on the downside, there is support, crucial support around 76.50, whereas on the upside, resistance is around 86, 87. So the stock can be held with a stop loss of 76.50. And once it consistently starts trading above 86, 87 levels, then we could expect the stock to trade towards 90, 92 levels.
Let's bring on board our next query then, and it is from Reena Sujil from Chennai. She says that she's bought 50 shares of Graphite India at 115 rupees per share. Her question is this the right time to add more shares with a long-term time horizon? Well, interesting perspectives coming in from Graphite India actually, especially in relation to the steel sector and how the sector is actually hotting up. Gaurang, what's your view on Graphite India?
Well, I would not advise to add more, but in case if she wants to take money off the table or possibly on rallies at a higher level book profits, I would advise that. Would recommend buying into Federal Bank, which corrected post the numbers. I was listening into the commentary of the management and I would treat this quarter as one-off. And at 113, your downside is extremely protected on Federal Bank. Upside could be as much as 135 from a long-term point of view. So it would be prudent to make a switch at higher levels or at current CMP to book profits and make a switch.
All right, so that's Graphite India, perhaps not a wise option to nibble into the stock right now. And yes, Gaurang is as well advising that you may consider looking at Federal Bank. He has a target of 135 rupees on that one. Amar, over to you then on Graphite India. Do you think this is a stock on the technicals that perhaps at this level would be a good idea to purchase into then?
Yeah, Graphite, technically the stock is strong on the chart, so it's currently around 190, 93 levels. So yes, any pullback towards 179, 180 can be a buying opportunity. So if one wants to add on to positions or wants to enter fresh positions, 179, 180, that could be a level one can enter the stock.
We'll slip into a short break, but when we come back, we'll be addressing TK Nandi's portfolio. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Thanks for staying on with us on Buy Now, Sell Now Weekend. And it's that part of the show where we address your individual portfolios. So let's bring on board our very first investor. TK Nandi, age 31, has sent in his portfolio. He says he's a long-term investor and he is currently employed. So let's run you through what exactly are the stocks that he has purchased and do find a place in his portfolio. First up, about 50 shares of Barmer Lorry purchased at 240 rupees per share. First Source Solutions, about 100 shares of that one purchased at 45 rupees. We also have Max Ventures featuring on his list. 55 rupees is his buy price on that one, and he's making some good money in that one. Moving on, PSU Bank, PNB as well features on his list, and that one he's purchased at 135 rupees. The Spark at 321, and Sun Pharma, which he's purchased at 761 rupees. New listing Hudco is what is as well on his portfolio, and that one he's purchased at 77 rupees, about 100 shares of BEL. And lastly, there's also CG Power, 100 shares of that purchased at 62 rupees. So Gaurang, let's start off with the first three stocks then in his portfolio: Barmer Lorry, First Source and Max Ventures. What's your view?
So Mubina, Barmer Lorry, again, no specific coverage, but would advise or prefer shifting into Castrol. We have a positive coverage, long-term target stands at 485. On First Source, had a coverage, we dropped it once the target was in place. Now, in case if he wants to make a switch, I would advise to buy into Ashok Leyland with a target of 120. On the third one, again, Max Ventures, no specific coverage, but if he wants to make a switch, I would advise him to buy into a Dish TV, which is the largest player in direct-to-home segment and has got encouraging numbers over the last couple of quarters. And our sense is now with the ad and promo expenses coming down, margins would expand. Long-term target of 125 on Dish TV.
Okay, let's move on to the next set of stocks. There's Punjab National Bank, which he's purchased at 135 rupees. He's making money over there. Spark at 321, again a profit-making investment for him. Sun Pharma as well at 761 rupees. And I'll also take along with that Hudco, a new investment, a new listing rather, which has made money for a lot of investors, especially if you've purchased it at the issue price. Gaurang, let's get in your view on these four stocks.
So on PNB, our sense is that the exposure to the vulnerable sector is at an elevated side. And I would advise a shift to another public sector bank, Bank of Baroda, from where it is trading somewhere close to about 160, 162, 165. Your downside is extremely protected. We are a target of somewhere close to about 220 on Bank of Baroda. So it's prudent to make a shift to Bank of Baroda from PNB. On Spark, you are in the money in case at a higher level, lighten it off. We would prefer a mid-cap company in the pharma pack called Granules India, wherein we have a target of 165 long-term. Sun Pharma have a positive coverage, investment at an elevated level, stock trading at a much more below level. I would advise a small bit of averaging of maybe about 25 or 50 shares on Sun Pharma. Thereby your acquisition cost will come down. We have a target of 780 long-term on Sun Pharma. On Hudco, recent listing, but unfortunately the performance was subdued. Then we saw the rally come in. We are not quite convinced with the valuation, of course, on the earnings front as well. Maybe a switch to Diwan Housing Finance Limited, DHFL, would make a sense with a target of 545, I beg your pardon, on Diwan Housing. Or LIC Housing Finance came out with the numbers on Friday. Numbers were looking encouraging. The only problem was the dent on the margin front, but we would possibly treat it as one-off. On LIC Housing, if you're shifting, your target should be 825 long-term.
Okay, so Bank of Baroda would be a better bet, instead of PNB, according to Gaurang. Also, look at Granules India instead of Spark. Sun Pharma, well, it is at an elevated level that you've made that investment. So perhaps look at nibbling into this stock right now so that you can average out your buy price. And lastly, Hudco as well is something that Gaurang is advising. You should perhaps look at an LIC Housing Finance for that matter, which just, of course, delivered its numbers. And the last two stocks, BEL, he's purchased that at 160 rupees. Again, he's making some money over there. And CG Power at 62, again, a profitable investment. Gaurang, your view on these stocks?
Again, positive on both, Mubina. And BEL, we are quite excited about the entire defense play. Long-term target of 210 on BEL. And on CG Power, acquisition cost of 62. In case if the stock comes down below these levels, you can definitely average. Otherwise, you can continue to hold on to it.
All right, so there you have it. That's of course all the chops and changes that Gaurang is recommending on your portfolio. But do remember, this is a model portfolio. Please do consult your individual investment advisor before taking any investment decisions. We'll slip into a short break. When we come back, we'll be addressing some more technical as well as wealth creation ideas.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/etnow.